Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we're doing the crossword for Thursday, October 3rd, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I did do the crossword.
And did you like said crossword?
Well, it was an interesting challenge, to say the least.
I found it very difficult.
Yes.
Because I didn't, even though it was a Thursday, recognize that there were rebuses about.
You should always anticipate rebuses on Thursday.
Well, I made one mistake that just totally confused me. 7 down, singer-songwriter Golding. I thought the answer to that was Eli, E-L-I, or possibly E-L-Y, but I went for E-L-I, which is, of course, is an anagram of lie. And so I was confused as to what I was supposed to be doing with the rebus. Oh. The rebus being, sorry to spoil things, but the rebus being lie.
Yes.
And that just, I kept looking for like strings of 3, like an L-I-E somewhere about the grid close to where the rebus was supposed to be. Failed at that because it wasn't there. Anyway, it turned out to be a bit of a fiasco.
It sounds like it.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I figured out what was going on.
Well, that's good.
But it took no little time.
I sort of had my own take on that.
Oh, uh-huh.
I was like, okay, we'll just say what the theme was. The theme was, in some words, there were some letters missing in the answers, and the letters were always L-I-E. But the interesting thing about it was that the acrosses where the L-I-E was missing, there was a black space.
Right.
And so, like, I figured it out at 26 across. It said, actor who played a character with the same first name on 2.5 Men. And then 28 across, the one right next to it, was a dash, which means that it is a continuation of the prior one. So I knew the answer to that was Charlie Sheen. Mm-hmm. So I put Charlie in it, and then there was a black, or C-H-A-R, and then there was a black square, and then Sheen fit in 28 across. So I thought, oh, this is clever. Every place where you have an L-I-E, they put a black space.
Right.
So then I got up to the one you were mentioning, singer-songwriter Golding, 7 down, and I knew that was Ellie. So I put E-L, and I thought, oh, and in some cases they make the rebus. They make it a rebus. So I put in L-I-E. So I thought, so I'm either looking for a black space or I'm looking for a place to put the rebus.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't realize till I got down to the revealer clue what was really going on. The revealer clues were 52 and 53 across. And the 52 across, it says, feature as seen 3 times in this puzzle. And 53 across was test required for all CIA applicants or a hint to this puzzle's theme. And the answer to that was SPOCK polygraph, which of course is a lie detector test. And I guess every time you lie, there's a spike. So actually, the black square, if you look above all the black squares that I thought were like, oh, that's the acrosses, like the Charlie Sheen, the L-I-E, if I looked above that black square between Char and Sheen, there was a rebus lie. So it wasn't that sometimes you had a black square and sometimes you had a rebus, that rebus actually worked across, but you had to spike up one. You have to spike
to
up
find it
above the black square, and there you find the L-I-E, and then you go back down again. So, for example, where Ellie Goulding was, the lie, L-I-E from Ellie Goulding, was right above a black square that was in between 19 and 21 across, which the clue was a disclaimer on a sale poster. And the answer to that was while supplies last. And you were able to get while and the SUPP in 19 across, then you had to spike up to the LIE, which was the last square in LE, and then you would go back down and you get the S and the last. So while supplies, where you spike up and then last come back down. And that was the theme. You had a spike lie going up and then going back down to finish off the rest of the answer.
Right.
So
yeah, I first assumed that the lie was in that black square too, and then I thought I didn't know what was going on with Eli. Then I thought maybe there were 3 letters that you had to anagram to get the word lie. Right. I don't know. I was inventing all sorts of ridiculous themes.
But then I finally figured out with Charlie Sheen, it was char, black square Sheen. Well above the black square there was the LIE from 5 down, which was metal marble, and that was a steely, with the last 3 letters being LIE. So what it was essentially was the down clue. The last part of the down clue was always LIE, and then the across clue, that LIE fell right above a black square where LIE would also fit into the across clue or answer.
And LIE also worked into the across clue that was in the same row.
Yeah.
So you had like 23 across. That was, let's see here, contradict was belie.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So it was a neat bit of construction.
Yeah. Yeah. The one with Ellie Golding, the cross clue was 17 across, more slippery, and that was Elier.
Right.
So LIE, LIE in a rebus, and then R. Okay. The final LIE was going down, 33 down, a half-sister of Kim, Chloe, and Courtney, and that was Kylie Jenner. And then 40, right below that was a black square, and that black square was between 46 and 48 across, which the clue was skeptics, and that was non-believers. And in 46 across, you got non-B, and then you had the black square where right above it was the LIE, and then you went back for 48 across where VERS was located. So you had non-believers. So we had while supplies last, Charlie Sheen, and non-believers with spike LIEs in the answer.
Right.
Like a spike polygraph test where when you lie, it spikes.
So I'd like to point out that all 3 of those had a pop culture tie-in. Charlie Sheen, I didn't know. I mean, I recognized the name, but I did not recognize the role. Ellie Golding, I didn't recognize because I thought it was ELI. I'm not sure who Eli Golding is. I looked them up and just discovered there's some person on Facebook named Eli Golding. I don't think that was the person they had in mind, or even the person that I had in mind. And then Kylie Jenner. So you know, my brain sort of shuts down whenever it sees pop culture. It says, "You're not going to get this. You just got to figure it out through the crosses." So it made it a lot harder. And even those crosses, like Elier.
Yeah, that's a funny word.
We've used that word before, and I normally would have seen it, except the second E came out of 6 down, and 6 down was
Ellie Golding.
Six down was human-shaped board game piece, a meeple.
Yes.
Well, I love the word.
Yeah.
And it has appeared a total of 2 times in the New York Times crossword, clued exactly the same way both times. Human-shaped board game piece. But I didn't.
What board game is it?
I think it's sort of generic.
If the game piece is shaped like a person, it's
right.
a meeple.
It's a meeple instead of like a man. I guess in olden days they'd say man, but then apparently the game creators discovered there's another gender. They ought to reach out to that, so it's now meeple.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so, anyways, it took me a while to get through this, and I was sort of growling at it for the longest time. It's amazing I can go from hating a crossword to loving it in about 1 second. It's just sort of like it's just like, oh, I get it now. Now I love this crossword. The crossword that 1 second ago I was loathing and railing at. Really, I just have to do these crosswords when I'm awake, and I'll be fine. But it was a good crossword. There's some great clues.
Yeah.
I started off with difficulty 3 down, like some dog collars. I had it starting with anti, and I thought, well, it has to be anti-flea, except it isn't. It's anti-bark.
Right. I have no idea what kind of a dog collar is an anti-bark collar.
Oh, I can tell you. It's something with electrodes in it that shocks the dog. I mean, that must be it, right?
It must be, but that sounds kind of cruel. But...
Well, it's that or the owners don't get a good night's sleep, so
yeah.
They had to choose. I think, didn't we just have parer in the grid? Because today we had 4 down. Tool used in making applesauce and mashed potatoes was a peeler.
That's right.
I thought we had a parer. Maybe it was peeler the last time too, and I
think it might have been.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's so funny.
Of course, it doesn't fit, not wrong number of letters.
It's very funny because yesterday I made applesauce and I used a peeler way much more than I wanted to.
Wow.
But I thought, peeler.
Well, perhaps as part of our swag, we can send some Gene and Mike to the New York Times crossword puzzle applesauce.
No, I don't think so.
Doesn't ship? Okay.
Although it is very good. They have very, very nice apples up here in northeastern Wisconsin.
Yes.
And I acquired some. And actually, it was given to me, and I had to do something with them. So I made applesauce.
Well, so speaking of getting slightly away from applesauce, so right next to peeler, they had 5 down that you already mentioned, metal marble. And I didn't know it was a steely. I just thought steel. I thought steel would be fine. It was a steel marble. Okay. But steely sounds...
All day steely.
I like that. I think it sounds more how a marble should be named.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We had 26 down. 26 down was busy APRA for April, professional. And for some reason I was thinking, well, a lot of people get married in May and June. So I was trying to come up with a 3-letter abbreviation for a wedding organizer. And then I realized it was CPA.
Yes.
So that totally changed things.
Wow.
And then we had 31 down. Budget planner for short was CFO.
That's right.
So we had the CPA and the CFO.
Yep.
That was the money area of the grid.
Right.
If only they'd worked ATM into there, but they did not.
Yes.
Let's see here. 10 down totally got me. Leaf maker. I'm like, okay, how do you make leaves? No, that's something that a tree does. It was Nissan.
Yeah, I think that's their eco-friendly car. I don't know if it's electric or hybrid or what.
Probably a hybrid. But
Mm-hmm.
and the one next to it was great. City that's absolutely gorgeous, spelled Gorges.
Yes.
So, and that was Ithaca.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I guess that must be their city motto or something, because I looked up Ithaca and they said City of Gorges or Gorgeous City.
Well, was that Ithaca, New York? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, they do have gorge. I've been there. They have some beautiful gorges.
Not beautiful gorges. Gorgeous gorges.
Gorgeous gorges.
You got to say
yes.
gorgeous gorges.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also,
and they're very close to the campus there, Cornell University. And so, yeah, I've actually walked some of those gorges.
By the way, I understand if your name is George and you're George posing in front of the gorgeous gorges and can pronounce that 3 times quickly, they give you the key to the city.
No kidding.
Yes. Well, yes, kidding. I don't know. That might be a tradition there. If your name is George,
If I'd only known.
and you can pronounce gorges 3 times quickly, we will give you the key to the city. Okay, so you have to explain to me 55 down. 55 down was decorate as a baker might. Pipe.
Yes. Pipe icing, like along the edges of a cake. You might pipe a little fancy curlicue or little shell shapes along the edges of a cake.
So you're using pipe as a part of speech that I don't normally see it in as a verb.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. You pipe. You get like a frosting bag, and then you have like these little ends
Okay.
that'll create decorative scrolls
And that's called piping.
shells, and that's called piping. Yeah. So yep, that's what that is.
All right. Well, that explains that.
Okay, I'm glad I enlightened you.
For 24 across, save money on one's commute home, perhaps. What did you put down first?
I didn't put anything, but I had a B at the end, so I thought, I think it's probably related to a cab.
Right. Mm-hmm. Because it turned out to be split a cab.
Split a cab.
I immediately went for share.
Oh, uh-huh.
Because, I mean...
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm more used to people talk... Like Uber talks about sharing, I think, not splitting. So
right.
they don't want to emphasize the...
you split the fare.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. 47 down, that was darn it, and I went for oh gosh, but it was
I know. Yeah.
It was oh poo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it would have been a gollygraph rather than a polygraph.
Yes.
I like the idea of a gollygraph.
Right.
Just how many times you say golly, you can graph that.
Is oh poo? Is that a new one? Do you know?
Let's see. I can tell you. The answer is yes, that is a debut.
I wondered if it wasn't, because I never remembered oh poo.
There were actually 8 debuts in this crossword.
Oh, really?
Several of the themed answers, while supplies last, split a cab. I'm sorry, split a cab. Oh, split a cab was a debut. It wasn't part of the theme. We had non-believers.
That was part of the
Right. Anti-bark was a debut. Also, 44 down, major media campaign say PR push.
Right.
That was a debut. And the aforementioned OPU.
Interesting.
So quite a few debuts. This was, in fact, a debut crossword by Rena Cohen.
Well, she did a very nice job.
I think so. I would be remiss, though, and sort of doing a disservice to my, or just ignoring my Star Trek cred, if I did not mention, let's see, 35 down. TV character who said, computers make excellent and efficient servants, but I have no wish to serve under them, and that was Spock.
That sounds like a Spock.
I was trying to figure out when did he say that, and it was in an episode called The Ultimate Computer, and so that's where that arose, and I think it aired in like 1925 or something like that. Okay, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was 1968.
Wow.
And so that was...
we were already talking about computers back then.
Yeah, he said, they have him quoted as Mr. Spock quoted saying, I hold an A7 computer expert classification Commodore. I'm well acquainted with Dr. Daystrom theories and discoveries. I can't even imagine memorizing lines like that. I just think that all those characters must be great. But there was a computer on the board called the M5, and they were debating as to whether or not they should allow the computer to control the ship.
Oh.
I don't know what they'd make of a Tesla. But
yeah, or an iPhone or a laptop.
I think Gene Roddenberry was a little bit behind the curve when it came to predicting the date on which computers would start steering things by themselves.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I think that is it for today. So thanks everyone for listening. And we will be back again with our thorough, in-depth, completely unbiased and very friendly dissection of tomorrow's crossword tomorrow.
Bye-bye.